I think that this specific point of advice comes from somebody who's already extraordinarily successful, and that specific piece of advice is only applicable if you're already like really successful with hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers. But if you're somebody who's newer, or you're smaller, or you're the median content creator, this specific piece of advice would probably be completely a pretty net loss to your platform. It's like taking dating advice from people who are happily married in their high school sweetheart. Yeah.
Next in B tier. Shorts will help your channel grow.
This one should be S tier, 100%. The fact that he hasn't put an S tier to me is a little bit of a sussy red flag. All right, so this looks interesting. Apparently, he also references me, and I think he does it somewhat early, which means that he does it early enough, and he starts with like worst to best advice. So let's see what my terrible advice to YouTubers is. That's by 02.
I've been doing YouTube for nearly a decade now.
Whoa!
And over the course of my career, I've heard all sorts of advice tossed around. Some of this advice dramatically reshaped the way I thought about the YouTube algorithm. But
it's crazy.
Some of it, looking back, was just complete nonsense.
Let's hear it.
And what better way to structure a video with a list of bad, mid, and good things than a tier list?
All right.
Let's get into it. We're going to start things off with F tier. And this tier is for the truly terrible advice. Advice so bad that following it will hurt your channel. And
I swear to God, if we get to the point where he supposedly talks about me, it's just him talking about some other fat guy, I'm gonna fucking permanently ban you, okay? I'm gonna permanently ban you, dude.
There's not gonna be too many things in this tier. Most advice is at least applicable in some niche cases.
All right, let's hear it.
Or at least is at the very worst just a waste of time. But the stuff in this tier is worse than that. It will mess with your analytics.
Let's hear it.
It will de-rank your videos in the algorithm. Don't follow the advice here. But to start us off, we have, you should delete bad, old, or underperforming videos.
Yeah, that is bad advice. Just let them run. Let them ride. You actually never know if there's like a point where it could become relevant again. But I really don't think a bad video is going to kill your algorithm. Actually, just to be clear, I think that you also have to keep in mind that like algorithm is not the only function of a YouTube channel, or is not the only aspect of the YouTube channel. You are as well. And so if you're somebody who deletes videos that you feel are performing poorly, you're going to get so stressed out that you're not going to be able to be a content creator. Put your video out, let it ride, and do things that make you not care, or positive, like, or infuse positive energy into it. Clip it out and put it onto other platforms. That's a good way to do it. But like, I had a video yesterday, 10 out of 10. It was that jar Roblox conversation. Today it's at a 5 out of the 10. Like, that's how they do it. Like 1 out of 10 is like your best video out of the last 10. 10 out of 10 is obviously the worst. That's performing. Like, let it do its thing. Let it ride through the algorithm. You know, you never know what's going on. It could be like a day where people aren't home consuming content. It might take them a little longer to take a look at it.
So this is disastrously bad advice, but to fully explain why, let me give you a quick rundown on how the YouTube algorithm works. This will, of course, be massively simplified, but to be honest, the core concept is really not all that complicated. The YouTube algorithm works by comparing viewers' watch histories and looking for patterns. So the most basic pattern would be something like this. Viewer 1
the music's killing me. I can't.
Gets on YouTube and gets shown a random selection of videos on their homepage. They watch videos B, D, and G. Viewer 2 gets on YouTube and watches videos B, D, and G. Viewer 3 gets on and watches videos B and D, and then logs off for the night. YouTube is going to put video G.
We all know that. We all know that people are playing, especially RuneScape, they're watching videos while they're on RuneScape.
Onto viewer 3's recommendations front and center the next time they log on, because it noticed the pattern that people who like videos B and D also tend to like video G.
Yeah, also, you never know which videos resonate the most with people. You could have like a pretty poorly performing video that people like a lot, and maybe the right person will like it. And then maybe they'll be like, hey, Papa God, like maybe in the future we could do a podcast together. You know what I mean?
There are, of course, hundreds, if not thousands, of additional variables, but all of those additional complexities layer on top of that core concept, patterns of viewership. YouTube calls this co-watch behavior, and it is the main driving force behind the recommendation.
Does this guy have another channel? Like, how come he has only... This must be the second channel. Oh, okay. Okay, sorry.
Algorithm. If you can understand that concept, you can probably follow my rationale for basically every tip in this video. So the reason that deleting old videos is bad for growth is that it also removes that data.
Oh, he has almost 4 million subscribers. That makes sense. Why do you make a new channel? I guess to talk about other stuff that he wants to talk about. Whoa! I farted.
From your viewers' watch histories, which means there's less of a pattern for YouTube's algorithm to pick up on to use to push your videos to new people. Now, of course, there can be genuinely good reasons for deleting an old video. If you, I don't know, accidentally doxed yourself and included some sensitive information,
sure.
Yeah, probably don't just leave that up for strangers to see for your own safety. But
unless you want them to come over for a little tug and rug, if you know what I'm saying.
In general, it's a bad idea.
Like mutual masturbation, that was a joke.
And if you really just don't like your old videos and want them gone for reasons of taste, that's okay too, I suppose.
Sure.
You can also just unlist them, which won't remove them from people's watch histories, but that also means that if they want to watch it, they can just go back through their
they can still like go there if they have a physical link and whatnot.
Watch history and find it. So it's not a good solution for really sensitive information. But if you just don't want it to show up on your channel, it does work. I'm personally of the opinion that it's a good thing to let audiences go back and see how much you've grown as a creator. But I understand that not everyone can stomach the cringe of their teenage self.
Yeah, sure. And again, like there's sometimes you might talk about something a year ago and it might pop. And also, again, do fucking clips for your stuff and get it out onto other social media platforms, you know? Like, that's I think one of the biggest things, and I don't know if it's going to be talked about in here, but the best advice that I can give any content creator is right now, we are in the short form revolution. If you are not putting energy and effort into creating short form content to plug your long form content, you're probably not going to succeed nearly as well. Like a lot of what you need to do is try to get growth over from other platforms with clips. So make your video, have clips in mind, and make sure you produce that. That's the best advice I'll ever give you.
But if you're just deleting it because it didn't get the view numbers you wanted, you're making the problem worse.
He does? Okay, that's good.
Better. I actually know a few YouTubers who delete low-performing videos to make sponsors think that they hit higher view counts more consistently than they actually do, so that they can use that data to negotiate a higher rate.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I feel like maybe that's not a great idea.
But this is playing with fire, in my opinion. And second in F tier, we have the advice, all engagement is good engagement.
Yeah, that's not good advice. You want to make sure that you're getting the type of engagement that like represents you as a content creator, right? Like, I mean, it really depends. Like if you're somebody who really wants to do like let's play videos and you decide to make a video about politics, you've just generated a political audience. You want to make sure that people are there to see not just you, but like also the content that you want to push. It's a very, very important thing to make sure that you're doing. You know, this only works for OnlyFans people. Like, that's the only time it works. The only time rage baiting basically works is for if you're doing OnlyFans.
I think everyone who thinks about this for more than a second knows it's not true. But still, every so often, I'll see a creator going back and forth bickering with one of their fans, and they'll invoke this as a sort of attempt to reframe the whole interaction as like a gotcha. Like the viewer will be criticizing or insulting some aspect of the creator's video, and the creator will counter, aha, I got you. You see...
Oh, is he talking about like political rage bait?
You thought...
Like this kind of reminds me of like debate bros.
You were damaging my reputation by insulting me, but actually, you've just given me more engagement, boosting my influence even further. Ha ha ha, joke's on you.
Sure. I mean, I think that that's a little different because, like, let's say somebody comes in to argue with a topic that you had, that's still in like a similar. I understand what he's saying, but that's still in like a similar sphere. Like, if I have a take and you come in to argue with me on the take, my content is about having takes on things, and then for you to potentially disagree with me and you talks amongst yourselves, or maybe even me if I give enough of a fuck talk about it. I'm more of like, you know, you make something just for like if you're doing like a let's plays or something, and then you make like a totally different video, and people are like, whoa, I like this a lot, but then they're not following you for that. You know, more exaggerated thing is if you do like some kind of like, okay, we'll just do let's play content again, and then you take you put up a recording of I don't know, somebody else fucking rapping or something, and you get like 1 million views on it and you get followers. It's like, that's not your content. You didn't get any productive viewership there. But I would say that there's also lesser forms of this, like where you rage bait on the internet and you're only going to generate rage bait enjoyers. Or like, you know what I mean? So if you're on Twitter and you're just saying really spicy hot takes just to get people to engage with you more, to get them to engage with your YouTube more, depending on your content, maybe that even does increase the amount of people who watch, but like, what audience did you just generate? Is that a productive long-term audience, or is that the type of people that are going to stress you out and like hold you to this weird high debate standard the second that you do something wrong or something along those lines, you know?
But this is usually, frankly, a pathetic attempt to stop people from criticizing them. But still, there are some people who earnestly believe this. I've even heard of a few creators who will include 1 or 2 spelling mistakes on purpose in order to generate more engagement in the form of comments that are correcting them.
I mean, that might be fine. I feel like that's not the same thing as what I'm talking about. I don't know.
Thinking that that is helping their recommendations reach more people. It's just not. I don't know how else to say it, but the people who literally designed the YouTube algorithm have said as much. It doesn't work, don't do it. Now, of course, if a creator posts something that's so bad that the badness of it becomes a spectacle in and of itself, that can override the negative effects of negative engagement.
Well, that sounds like, to me, I'm almost hearing like this is a one-off video, so I don't know if that would necessarily be positive just because you got like one viral video because you fucked something up, you know?
But even in those cases, usually the big winners in that...
We're being a little vague here, so it's hard to sometimes like zero in on exactly what we're talking about, but I'm also tired, so leave me alone.
Are going to be the commentary channels that farm that misfortune for views.
Oh god, dude, are you talking about me, dude?
That's honestly the only advice I've heard, which I do think...
Bro, if that was him acknowledging me, I'm gonna fucking shit in your pants, okay? Fuck you,
actively hurts your channel's ability to rank highly in recommendations. Let's move on to D tier. This tier is for advice which I don't think actively hurts your channel, but can indirectly hurt it by nature of just being a complete waste of time. This is going to be a pretty packed tier because honestly, most of the advice that I hear as a creator falls into this category. First in D tier, we have, you should post at specific times or days of the week.
No, I don't care about that. I just post whenever. I feel like it doesn't matter.
For like...
I mean, maybe it does. I don't know. YouTube kind of makes you feel like that because they show you your analytics based on the day, but I don't really care about that. I just kind of put it there.
99% of YouTubers, this just doesn't matter at all. Now, sure, if most of your audience is American and you post at 3 a.m. Eastern time.
I feel like the algorithm does its best to make sure your video does as well as it feels like it can do. So, you know, even if it's bad to post at a certain time because your audience isn't awake, I think you'll end up doing is you're going to reduce the amount of people who might click on your notifications and they might just watch through the algorithm. So the algorithm will like shift a little bit. That's what I think. You know, like when I was posting 1 video a day, I was very alert oriented, notification oriented. When I started doing 2 videos a day, that suffered very quickly. But like I noticed my videos would do better over a period of time, which can be negative sometimes for me because sometimes I'll do something that might be time sensitive, but also I don't think that that's necessarily who I am. I think that people will tune in to hear what I have to say, even if they feel like the topic is a couple of days old at that point. So it's overall been productive, I would say.
Or you post during the Super Bowl, or you post during Christmas morning. Yeah, the amount of people who are immediately dropping everything to go watch your video.
Sorry, I just wanted to check my phone. I'm a little anxious because I got like a bunch of warnings like in like the course of a couple days. So now I like compulsively check my alerts.
Is going to be lower. But if a viewer likes your videos, they're going to see it the next time they open YouTube. And in fact, your video already being up and ready to watch when they sit down at their desk for the first time to start their day might actually play in your favor. It might not be good for their productivity, but still. Okay. The point is, in the long run, a video is going to get about the same amount of views that it would have no matter what time it was uploaded. So don't stress about it. Unless you make time-sensitive videos.
Yeah.
If you're doing a news show, or
well, that one makes sense to do as soon as possible. Damn, he's a lot better views. I don't even know what he does. Fucking solid stuff. Philip DeFranco, what Def Noodles wishes he was.
God forbid, YouTube drama videos. You do have to keep your topics relevant to the current news cycle.
Is this it? He's just vaguely referencing YouTube drama, whatever commentary people.
And if you make videos about internet trends and fads or new releases in gaming and film, you don't want to miss the boat on those. Although, even in those cases, a good video can still work after the fact.
Bro, none of this is about me, bro. You fucking piss me off.
As a retrospective.
Okay.
But yeah, for most creators, this just isn't something you need to concern yourself with.
All right. Well, I'm still interested in the video, but like obviously I'm not actually referenced. I'm not referenced in the video. What the fuck are you talking about? You're like clickbaited me into watching a video you wanted me to watch. He also calls out Papa in this too. Dude, come on. Why'd you clickbait me into watching someone else's content? I would have watched it already, too, but it's just, like, so fucking cringe, dude. Holy shit.
I used to upload all of my videos at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Whoa!
Because that's when I personally would have been most likely to just be chilling, looking for something interesting to click on.
To jerk off to.
But eventually I stopped caring about it and just started...
I thought, like, he was going to criticize. I said that you should only stream on one platform when you first start. But, you know what? You fucking cucked me.
Uploading whenever a video was ready, and I didn't see any difference in performance at all.
Terrible.
Next in D tier, the algorithm will punish you for taking a break.
I have no idea. Maybe it does. I mean, I feel like, I guess we don't know what a break is.
So in general, no. There's no amount of time you can take off that would trigger some sort of massive downranking of your videos in recommendations.
I mean, that's probably not true at all. Like, I remember a while ago, like, I quit my old channel to do, like, the new channel, and then I went back to it, like, a year later, and the views were, like, abysmal. I'm pretty sure, like, yeah, it does have an impact. I don't think that this matters. I don't think if you take a week off, you're going to have, like, an issue. But, like, there probably is a line where, like, yeah, you're going to see it all, like, a downfall if you don't, you know?
If your audience really likes your videos, they're going to keep sharing them with their friends, and probably even go back and watch some old ones. As an example, at the beginning of the year 2020, I had about the same amount of subscribers as my friend Sam from the YouTube channel Sam Onella Academy. Sam proceeded
that's silly.
to take a nearly 3-year-long break, all the while massively diffing me on both subs and views.
What was his subs at that time, I wonder? Because if this guy's a huge content creator, so my thing is like, if you're already an established creator, maybe, but I feel like this advice is generally for like smaller creators who are just like, hey, I don't know what the fuck, I'm already pretty small. It's a little different, I think, depending on your size. If you're a big creator, you could probably get away with it more, but I think that the productive conversation to have is like, if you're a creator and you want to take like a week off and miss a couple of your post days or weeks or whatever, depending on like how often you post once a week, and you want to miss a week or two because you need to for whatever reason, like you'll be fine. You're not going to like lose everything. That's the productive conversation to have about this.
And this isn't me saying there's anything wrong with the algorithm or anything like that. His audience just really likes his videos and likes to go back and rewatch them. And when he finally did come back after those 3 years, all of his new videos did basically just as well as you would have expected had he never taken a break at all. Bill Wirtz made what I think could be reasonably described as the greatest educational YouTube video of all time. And even though he hasn't posted in years, his channel still pulls plenty of views.
I would say that this is probably the best example of, I don't even know what to call the phenomenon. I don't know what to call this. Like this is probably what like the emulate, I don't know, like the some kind of like emulation of somebody who made it being being disrupted. I think that this specific point of advice comes from somebody who's already extraordinarily successful with like how many millions of followers on his main channel? Almost 4 million followers on his channel, and that specific piece of advice is only applicable if you're already like really successful with hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers. That's it. But if you're somebody who's newer, or you're smaller, or you're the median content creator, this advice, this specific piece of advice would probably be completely, I would say, probably a pretty net loss to your platform as a content creator. And one thing I'll just say is that you need to be careful of really successful people are taking advice from really successful people sometimes, because sometimes they just don't really understand what it's like to be in like a particular struggle zone. And again, this piece of advice I think is like kind of an instance of that, because he's already such like a large creator. So it's like, yeah, if I take a year off, like nobody's gonna care. You have 4 million followers. But if you have like 20,000 followers and you take off for a year, you're fucked. Like, if you have 100,000 followers, you're fucked. You know, so that's advice that like isn't applicable to the majority of content creators, in my opinion.
If he ever posted another history of blank, I think the internet would go bananas. Now,
and like I interpret this video as like a kind of like a general advice video.
These channels are, of course, outliers.
Like I would imagine that the tone of this video is trying to talk to most people. Like yeah, like you just said, they're outliers. Yes, at least you brought that up.
I don't think everyone can expect that level of audience loyalty.
Yeah,
but what I'm getting at is that
I think that kind of kills your whole narrative on that.
Performance of good old videos is not negatively impacted by the lack of new videos. Even channels whose videos are highly time sensitive still take breaks from time to time, and they still have an audience when they come back. Now, obviously,
depending on how big they are, sure.
Obviously, you don't want to be too inactive. If you just up and ghost the internet for years at a time, it's not just your audience who's going to notice. YouTube channels are businesses, and like any business, you're going to have competition.
That's true.
If you've left your audience with nothing to watch for years on end, I would expect your competitors to notice and for them to try and emulate your style in order to capture
That's true.
some of your audience. So take
it's like taking dating advice from people who are happily married in their high school sweetheart. Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. That's a great way to put it. 100%. A complete outlier. True.
Breaks when you need to. Don't burn yourself out.
Yeah.
But
your mental health is very important as a content creator. Like sometimes it's worth taking a short-term loss for a long-term mental health gain. You know, like when I got my warnings last week, it stressed me the fuck out, and I took a few days off from posting while I tried to figure out what was going on, because like YouTube can struggle with transparency, and taking a few days off kind of gave me like a second to like take a deep breath and just kind of think about content strategy and hopefully be more productive moving forward in ways that are like, oh, good for me, you know?
Never think that success is guaranteed either. Next in D tier, just do this one weird trick.
Just goon, naked yoga. I've seen that on YouTube. Isn't that crazy?
All right. I don't want to stoke drama, so I'm not going to name names, but I do have a bone to pick with, okay, I'm re-recording this bit because after watching it back, I think I started to come off way too heated for no reason.
Oh, I want to see it.
Basically, what I want to communicate is that there's a lot of videos out there that can really just get you barking up the wrong tree if you're not careful by convincing you that there's a lot of subtle tweaking that you can do to your video's metadata, you know, things like the video tags.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even have any tags for my videos. I just put content out, and I guess it's just like the way that works for me is I don't even bother tagging YouTube videos, TikToks, Instagram Reels, whatever. I guess because I just don't want to worry about the stress of it. I think that might sound really stupid, but sometimes to me, like I just like, okay, I'm going to throw it into the atmosphere and see how well it does, because I feel like they'll do fine without it if they're entertaining enough, and I don't want to be stressed out about the idea of like figuring out the correct hashtags. I know that might sound weird, but that's just been my philosophy. That might be more of like a home remedy philosophy, but like that's just how I operate.
And the file names and like things you can do with the YouTube Studio editor that would allegedly massively boost your odds.
Yeah, and you guys just show up. Exactly.
of going viral. And I'm sorry, but I do think that that's all just a complete waste of time. I'm not saying that ads is...
It's also super stressful. I'm just telling you, like when you put that kind of weird energy into it, like I created a product. What can I do to make it better? Maybe the hashtags, maybe the metadata. Use your time productively. Go and make short form content for your long form content. That's a better idea. Like if you want to put productive energy into your shit, if you make a video a week, after you make the video, rewatch it and be like, oh, that was actually pretty good. Let me new format it.
Zero value at all. But at the end of the day, if your videos are bad, there's nothing that you're going to be able to do like metadata manipulation wise to get people to like them.
Yeah.
And
even if you can get people to click on them, they're not going to stay if the video sucks.
If your videos are excellent, frankly, it would be pretty hard to screw it up. Like, it would be legitimately difficult to get people to stop sharing them. And if your videos are mid, you're much better off spending your time learning how to improve your craft than you are learning all these subtle metadata manipulation tricks.
Yeah.
You should
be productive in your energy expenditure. Yeah.
Always prioritize the things that your audience can see, not what YouTube's algorithm can see. Next in D tier. One bad upload can kill your channel.
Well, this is your momentum. I mean, maybe. I don't care. I just feel like just post for fun of it. And again, put productive time and energy and effort into your content. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Thankfully, probably not. Again.
Like, I feel like after I post a video that doesn't do well, the next video I post might do a little worse. But, like, it'll pick up. I feel like it'll pick up in the long run. I don't think it matters, you know? And again, if it does matter, it doesn't matter. This is the one thing you guys have to also understand. Sometimes, even if it matters, it doesn't matter. Because like if you post a video that does bad and you're like, oh, fuck, and you start stressing out, you're just going to produce shit content for the next one. And you're going to focus on things wrong. Does it matter? I don't know. It doesn't matter enough to matter. If you make another video, the next one is good, it won't matter. If you have a string of bad videos, it doesn't matter. Just keep pumping on as long as you're happy with the product. Because like your mental is going to be number one. And put some energy, again, it's like short form content. I know I've been saying that a lot. But like even if it does matter from the algorithm perspective, your mental health and your ability to produce content that's good and what your audience likes is more important. Keep that in mind.
Flip it around. How many times have you, as a viewer, completely written off all of a creator's future work based on one bad video? Probably not too
bad performing video is bad, different from like a bad video, you know?
Many times. Although, if you've been around long enough, maybe you can think of one or two. But no, what actually kills channels is a string of uninteresting videos that leads to their audience just not being as excited about their stuff anymore.
I'm literally gutting it right now. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
But yeah, don't stress about singular flops. It's way too much pressure to put on yourself, and literally every YouTuber uploads a stinker every once in a while.
Except for Bapagut. Everything I put up is good. You're just not watching it because you're mean.
And last in D tier, monetization will hurt your YouTube channel.
I've seen people talk about that from a TikTok perspective. I just doubt it. I don't think that YouTube would be like, all right, we monetize them. Let's make their videos perform poorly. Especially since, so, I mean, I guess I could see the logic on it for like the TikTok creator fund because it's a limited fund. But for YouTube just takes a percentage of your videos based on ads. They want you to do well. They take 45% of your ad revenue per video. I think 55. You get 55% on videos and 45% on shorts. So regardless of how well they do or don't do, YouTube's going to collect their money, right? So they want to collect as much money as possible. So they want to monetize your channel and put ads on it for a reason.
It's crazy. I know a handful of creators who just agonized over the decision to either monetize their videos or do sponsors. They thought their audience would crucify them if they did it, but Patreon wasn't quite making.
I see that Nicholas Mika. What the fuck? Where'd you see that?
Ends meet for them, and so eventually they felt like they had no other choice. And then when they flipped the switch, they got
that's fucking crazy.
Literally 0 negative comments about it.
Whoa.
And the same is true for sponsors. In fact, oftentimes I see the exact opposite happen, where they'll suddenly get a lot of comments along the lines of like, yo, our boy finally made it.
Yo.
It's an understood milestone in a creator's career, and I think most audiences understand that. I've even heard of creators faking sponsorships because they feel like it gives them more legitimacy to have them than.
Guys, don't fake sponsorships. My rule as a content as a wait, we don't call ourselves reactors. We call ourselves conversational commentary creators. My rule is to always watch the ads. It's like my number one rule. It's like I always watch through the ads because if you're gonna make a video, I'm obviously gonna watch through the advertisement revenue. You know what I mean? Kick it back to you, baby.
To not. I wouldn't do that. Faking sponsors is also
brought to you by my balls. Bro, I need to get a sponsor. Imagine I can get a consistent sponsor. I just don't know. Like, it's got to be something good. This Dr. Squash soap. I can make you guys tens of dollars. Do you understand this, guys? Holy fuck. Okay. Dunkin' Donuts. But I would only take a Dunkin' Donuts sponsor if they would bring back the fucking dude. Honestly, like one of this. I'm not kidding when I say this. It fucking pisses me off that Dunkin' Donuts got rid of their goddamn $5 deal where it was a medium coffee and 2 wake-up wraps, and right now it's the $6 deal. It's a fucking $6 deal where it's a medium coffee and hash browns and a bagel. Listen, their bagels aren't terrible, but they're not like, whoa, like they're very bready. There's really no meat in them. The wake up wraps, literally, I would eat them before I go to the gym. It made me want to go to the gym more. And now I like have less. I'm not even kidding. I wouldn't be excited to wake up and go to the gym. I'd be excited to wake up and go get a $5 meal deal with 2 wake up wraps and a medium coffee, which by the way, you should be able to substitute like a medium tea. I don't know why the fuck you can't do that. I'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I get it and I'm already on my way to the gym. So I'm feeling good. And it would just be so amazing. And now that's just gone. Like, dude, I would pay like fucking $8 for that meal, or maybe less. Maybe not $8. That might be a little. No, maybe $8. I don't know. But like, come on, dude. You're fucking cucking us with this bullshit. You know, give the people what they want. And what they want is they want the goddamn wake up wraps back, the 2 wake up wrap meal, and they want to be able to sub their medium coffee for a medium iced tea, which I feel like is cheaper for you to make anyway. So I don't quite understand why the fuck you can't sub it. It's so strange. So just being honest with you, dude. Just being honest with you. Okay? Be honest.
So D-tier advice, but so is completely writing them off as selling out. That's it for D-tier. All the rest of the stuff on this list is at least somewhat applicable and definitely won't hurt your channel. In C-tier, we have advice that is potentially useful, but isn't universally applicable. And first in C-tier, this is going to be a controversial one. Collabs are a good way to grow your channel. This one's interesting because
I think it depends more than anything else on if my glasses are crazy today. On if the collab is I think it could be good if the collab is within your universe. Like if you guys are 2 Minecrafters, that could be really good. I don't think it's a bad way to expose content. If your content sucks, people aren't going to give a fuck about your shit. But like the collab can be really good. I mean, yeah, maybe you'll get some empty followers, but like I think for the most part, as long as it's a productive collab that's in your sphere, it's fine.
YouTube Creator Studio actually tells you that this is a good idea. I did a ton of collabs in the early years of my YouTube career. And to be honest,
yeah, and you're a big creator now.
I don't think a single one moved the needle at all. Now, I'm not saying they can't work. They can make for...
I just wouldn't believe that that's true at all, even if you didn't see the short-term success of it. Being well-liked in other communities and getting the ball rolling for people to be like, oh, I kind of like this guy, I think is a positive thing, honestly.
Fun and entertaining videos. But
I mean, I just did a collab with Caleb Hammer, my best friend, Caleb Hammer. And it went pretty well. I mean, I have my conversation with him. That did good for my channel, like 35K views. That's a nice long form growth. And then I've been getting a big bump on like a lot of my other Caleb Hammer reaction videos. So I think it went pretty well. That was like I would say like my biggest collab. I liked it. I thought it was productive. You know, I think it's good. It depends. Like if you're a fucking gaming streamer or YouTuber and you collab with somebody who, like, I don't know, tickles farts, maybe you're not going to pull people in, but it's generally a good idea.
But for growing an audience, 1, they're not that great, and 2, you want to build your own audience, not leech from someone else's.
That doesn't mean you're leeching from someone else.
That second point isn't some...
If people give you the opportunity through a collab and then some of the fans stay to watch your content, you didn't get leech. You didn't leech. People are just like, oh, cool, I like this guy. There's so many different ways. There are like 1,000 different ways that you could get yourself on the map. You obviously have to have your product presentable, but like one of the ways, it's like not for nothing. I feel like most of your content's going to come through quote unquote inorganic growth at this point. We're not at the point where like a video will generally blow up in YouTube's algorithm and you'll be super successful. You need to get collabs with people. Well, not necessarily need, but like collabs with people are one way for inorganic growth. Short form content is probably the biggest way for inorganic growth. You know, you want to make sure that when you do get a collab, that your content that you're presenting is actually good. That's the #1 thing that you want to do. Make sure your content is actually worth a fucking thing. Because if you just start making content, and let's say like you have a family member that's a creator and you guys collab, you might get a lot of views in the short term, but if you don't have any good content to produce because you haven't been producing content yourself and you don't get yourself on a good track, of course people aren't going to stick around. But if you've made content for a few years and somebody gives you a shot and you're feeling pretty confident and comfortable with what you're putting out and you've gone through the trial and error and you like what you're doing, you're at a much higher chance for people to be like, oh, I actually like this. His content is professional looking, or their content is professional looking. It's professional and they know what they're doing. And so I like what they're presenting, and they're consistently presenting the same thing over and over again. That's something that's very extraordinarily important to do, more than anything else. But you have to set that foundation. If you don't have the foundation before you get some kind of collab, you will fail as a creator. I genuinely do believe that.
Moral judgment or anything. I'm not saying you're not going to have any overlap with other channels' audiences. Of course you will. But I've seen it several times where a creator will do a collaboration and it'll do well and they'll get a ton of new subscribers and views and they'll get all excited and celebrate. But when they upload their next video, it doesn't hit. and they might even lose subscribers. And
I think that losing subscribers in that instance is a good idea. I think like that's my mentality is if I lose subscribers, it's not bad because that means that they don't like the content I'm currently producing, and especially if I'm in a content shift, that's a good thing to me that you're leaving because then you're not going. My video's not going to your algorithm for you to ignore it and then put me lower down. Every time I've gotten a view reduction, I've gotten a follower reduction, I've gotten a view surge a little after some of the purge happens.
The reason is because those subs weren't made in earnest. They were subbed as a show of support for a different creator,
it depends
and for
on who
you
it is.
as their friend. But
this is like he's being a little too vague about what he's talking about. Like if you have a 1 million follower friend and you're like a 1,000 follower channel, yes, this advice is true. But generally speaking, you're going to be collabing with people that are like of your same size for the most part. I think I would argue it's going to be generally kind of rare to collab with somebody who is significantly larger or smaller than you. Most of the time, you're going to collab with somebody that's within the same area. Right, so like if I collab with this guy, my views I might get one video that's really good, and after that, they would tank and follow up. I mean, we're also completely different creators, but you understand the point that I'm making, honestly. But you can consider like even reaction content to be some kind of a collaboration, and there are some success stories. I think Tub is a really big success story. Like Moist Critical reacted to him once, and now he blew up. That's a form of a collaboration, I would say. It just depends on. I mean, there's a lot of factors, but. It really depends. I think that collaborations can be a very productive, positive thing for you.
Not because they actually connected with your content. And that can be really demoralizing. You may have noticed that collabs in general are just not all that common these days on YouTube. And I think this is the reason.
I think that the reason is because there's so many more people on YouTube nowadays, and the atmosphere has shifted a little bit. I think that's more than anything else. Why? I think that like you're just not seeing it as much because there's tons of different people, so they're not doing it. You know, YouTube used to be very niche back then. Now it is very mainstream.
They're just not all that effective in the long run. Now, there are other creators who I think do it well, but I think the reason they make it work is that they do cameos or games where it makes sense to involve other creators. My friend Magic the Noah does this amazingly well with his game shows, but even then, after being in multiple videos, I don't think I've ever noticed the spike in subscribers or views. So do the collabs that make sense, but definitely don't force it, and especially don't chase down other YouTubers asking to collab.
I mean, I definitely agree with that.
Because it's not even worth it. Next in C tier, censor your speech using euphemistic slang.
Are you saying that you should? You won't get demonetized as long as you avoid certain words? I guess. Yeah, if you avoid certain words, sure.
Look, I'll be honest.
I feel like for the most part, this is one of the ones that's like really difficult because YouTube will sometimes go back and forth with what they decide that they're going to make an unacceptable word versus not. I don't think that your content being yellowed, that's what it is when it gets like reduced in monetization. I don't think that would ever make your video less likely to go through the algorithm. I've never noticed that, but I mean. In general, like you should probably try to. I mean, like nowadays you can say bad words especially towards the beginning of the video, and it's fine. Whereas like a couple months ago you couldn't. But I just wouldn't trust it. I don't like when people say unalive instead of kill. I would say that like you can censor your language more productively instead of saying unalive. Like if somebody like took their own life, you could say take their own life over saying something more intense. And I think that that's a better way to censor. You know, if you don't want to say the word rape, you could say somebody was like sexually assaulted. I think that that's fine. But also I think it's immature if you take it too far. If you're saying things like SA, which maybe that one's okay, I guess, but especially grape, I think is disgusting to say grape instead of rape. That's just very trivializing of like what's going on. Just say rape or sexual assault. You could say something along those lines. You can even just say assaulted, especially if it's within the context. People could understand that it is a sexual assault, you know. But I think that there's a level of maturity that you want to conduct your content with as well, if you're going to talk about serious stuff like that.
I really wanted to put this one in F tier. I find it immensely disrespectful when people use such corny language to discuss serious topics.
I agree with that.
I will admit that this is a matter of personal opinion, and that at this point, clearly that type of thing has become pretty firmly ingrained in the online vernacular.
I'd say when it comes to, I would just censor, just like if you want to censor the word rape, just censor it. Say the word and then censor it later in the video. I think that's much better than saying grape. I think that's just pathetic. more than anything else. I'll say on shorter form platforms, you might have a little bit more trouble. But I mean, one big piece of advice that I would give you is that if you're talking about a sensitive topic, be careful of the way that you clip it, because while one sensitive topic or one intense moment in a sensitive topic in a video isn't going to have the same weight as just highlighting that specific very intense video part in the video. So like it's possible that just that part could be demonetized in some capacity, you know?
I watched a pretty interesting series of videos by a channel called Etymology Nerd, who makes a pretty good case that these words do serve a social function beyond just dodging a platform's censor bots. I don't know. I'm not an ethics philosopher, so I will leave it up to y'all to decide what is and is not appropriate for serious online discussions. But what I do know is that these supposed censor bots do not exist. There are no guidelines saying that you cannot use terms like kill, sex, and yeah, even rape and pedophile in your videos.
No, usually just can't use it towards the beginning more.
Now, sure, if you're using those words in a graphic context, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if the context is there, if your video is about those subjects, removing the word doesn't suddenly make your video family friendly. A true crime podcast about vicious, evil murderers is still a true crime podcast about vicious, evil murderers, even...
What does etymology mean again? Don't I look that up every time? I don't know. What does etymology mean? It's something to do with words. How do you spell etymology, dude? What the fuck? And study the origin of words. Oh shit, and the way that their meanings have changed throughout history. That's fucking crazy.
If you say unalive instead of kill. So either talk about it or don't.
I agree with this.
Next in C tier.
Just morally.
Premieres help your channel grow.
Oh, I don't know.
Premieres are fine.
I think a premiere is just when like you set it so that when your video gets released, there's like basically a live chat that you can engage with people with. It's like watching it live together without you being like actually physically live on your stream. It's fine. I've never done it. I don't care. I don't think that it matters. If you're gonna sit there and engage, it might matter a lot. I don't know, but I don't give a fuck.
Can be a cool way to build hype.
I mean, I'm a fucking live streamer, so I don't give a fuck.
And even result in
so you can just watch it live if you want.
Bit of bonus revenue from super chats. But do they help you grow? Probably not in a significant way. In fact, some people, myself included, find them to be a bit obnoxious. It's a bit of a buzzkill when you're bored and looking for something to watch, and you see a new notification from your favorite creator.
Oh, maybe because you can't skip forward or watch in increased speed.
And it's for a premiere that's in 24 hours. Cool. I'd rather you just have told me tomorrow. And if you're late to a premiere, you gotta either wait for it to end or awkwardly try to rewind it. Meanwhile, chat is talking about a
how hard is it to rewind it?
Totally different part of the video and spoiling stuff. And yeah, premieres are fine.
Well, I feel like if you're the kind of person, this evil look, dude. What the fuck? I feel like if you're the kind of person that's going to this fucking look is crazy, bro. If you're the type of person that really likes to see premieres, you'll show up on time. If you're somebody who doesn't, you just want to watch the general video, you won't care what the chat is saying, and you'll just literally X out of the chat. So I feel like it's not that big of a deal. I don't think it's like something anybody would really care that much about necessarily, like in any particularly robust fashion. No.
Messy, but fine. Next in C tier, you should engage with your audience by doing update videos, Q&A videos, and milestone videos.
I don't know, do whatever you want. Again, that's not something, I mean, I live stream, so I don't know. I can't give you advice on this. Like, I guess I kind of do that to an extent.
So on my main channel, TierZoo, I decided very early on that I was going to never do these. So when
I think that can be good for your mental health so that you don't have to feel like you have to constantly engage with it, people, you know?
When I was first starting out, I created a list of rules for myself to keep me on track for growth and keep me out of trouble. And the #1 rule on that list was to only ever upload exactly the sort of video that I thought my audience had subscribed for. My channel was about looking at the natural world through the lens of gaming, and nothing else. My assumption was my audience did not care who I am. And I do think this rule served me well. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but for a while I was the fastest growing educational channel of all time and reached 1 million subscribers after only about 18 months. Cool. But of course, I have no control data to compare against. And I know plenty of other channels that have done just fine uploading that style of video alongside their main content.
I feel like YouTube now, my understanding, this was talking to Caleb on that like live on that chat I just showed you guys earlier. My understanding is YouTube's trying to make their content more of like a hub, so you can do more versatile content, and they try to do a good job of like giving people what they want based on their algorithm. Whereas like people, you know, because more people click through like algorithmically now, rather than like showing up or even engaging. This is true for at least me, engaging based on the subscriber notification. But again, I post like that like multiple times a day content, so yeah, it depends. I mean, it really depends. Like his main channel, I feel like that's very specific and meaningful, and I think he posts like once a week or a month or something. You know, so I don't know how well it would do there. I post a lot, so I feel like it gives the algorithm time to like learn about my habits and my my fans' habits and their how they want to engage. You know,
it makes more sense to flip it again to the viewer perspective and ask if your favorite channel, or actually let's say not your favorite channel, if a channel that you like but perhaps isn't even in your top 5 uploaded a Q&A video, would you watch that? But I guess
I mean, you might. It's not. I don't think it's going to kill your channel if you decide to do it, and it doesn't go well, like you were saying before. So, like, experiment. I think that one of my things that I would say is make sure you keep experimenting with your content, because if you don't experiment, like you know, if you, it's okay to like, hey, 90% of my content's about this, but every once in a while, do something that's part of the 10 or the 5%. See how it goes. It's not going to destroy your channel because you talk about something different. I might be pleasantly surprised. Maybe you just enjoy the piece more, even if it doesn't do well, which helps your mental. Maybe the people love it a lot. Maybe it doesn't do well, but like your really close followers will love that content. That's, you know, that's a win. You have to keep that in mind as well. So
this also goes back to one of the earlier points on this list, which is that one bad upload isn't going to sink your channel either. The performance of my first video on this channel certainly proved to me that there can be a ton of value in doing these more personal videos.
Whoa. That's crazy.
I've been able to since connect with more of my audience and fellow creators than ever before. There's clearly merit to both approaches, and I look forward to learning more about how to best make this genre of content. So subscribe if that's something you're interested in. And last in C tier, basically everything you've ever heard about fair use. I wish I had the time and the expertise to try and properly debunk all the misinformation about fair use, but for now,
Chad, is this fair use?
I will just say go watch the Tom Scott copyright video.
YouTube's copyright system is broken. The world is. I wonder like what his specific. Tom Scott seems like a cool guy. I've seen some of his stuff. I guess it depends on like which specifically the way that they're. I mean, I wonder if he's just kind of talking about like how sometimes they're over police. I don't know, or maybe he doesn't like React channels. Who knows?
It's crazy though. In my behind the scenes video, I got a lot of comments saying, why on earth would you pay for stock footage when fair use exists? Look, I do wish some of them charged a bit less, but ultimately I do want an incentive to exist for nature videographers to go shoot interesting videos for me to buy. If it were legal that I could just rip their videos and run it through a watermark remover, that would be cool for a short time. But eventually, these nature videographers would just find better uses for their time and film experience. I want to have a good relationship with nature photographers. I want them to be excited to show me the latest cool shots that they got, not just to hide behind some flimsy legal defense while I benefit from their work for free. As with most things, the answer to the question of why does this cost so much is because it's worth it. Maybe not to you, but to someone. All right.
I guess, I mean, I don't know. I guess in his videos, he does like very high quality nature stuff. Whoa.
All right. First in B tier now. Interested is interesting.
I don't know what that means.
So this is a common adage I've heard tossed around in YouTuber circles a lot. I believe it was first popularized by Casey Neistat, but I'm not 100% sure. So while it is true to an extent, I learned the hard way that if you make things too niche, too high concept, people will bounce off of it.
I don't know what that is. Interested is interesting. I don't understand the groundwork on what that means.
Still, passion is by far one of the most important things to showcase in your.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand. I think he means that like if you really enjoy your content, it'll do better. I generally would agree with that. Sure, like if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're probably not going to do particularly well as a content creator.
Videos. YouTube is pretty great at showing people videos relevant to their interests. And if you, among all the YouTubers for a given topic, seem like the most passionate of the bunch,
okay, yeah,
you'll be in a pretty good position.
Yeah, I think if somebody clicks on your video and they're like, oh, this guy's not even enjoying what they're doing, I don't want to watch this fucking person, like, they're probably going to click off. I'm sure, like, again, I do, commentary stuff. I'm sure that I've had videos where, like, I'm not sounding as interested, and people are probably like, I don't want to watch this, And it happens. It is what it is, but,
and
it's also a job, so I try to keep up with a certain schedule. So sometimes, yeah, I'm going to have, sometimes I'm going to get spanked on my butthole,
The reverse is also true. If people can tell that you're not all that excited about the thing that you're talking about, they're not going to be excited about it either. Next in B tier, shorts will help your channel grow.
Yeah, they should, as long as the shorts are productive.
So strictly from the perspective,
this one should be S tier 100%. The fact that he hasn't put an S tier to me is a little bit of a sussy red flag.
Of increasing the number of views and subscribers on your YouTube channel, yes, this absolutely will work. In fact, the numbers can be truly staggering. But what can also be staggering is how difficult it can be to convert those shorts viewers into long-form viewers.
That part's difficult, but that's kind of what you want to and try to do.
This is my friend Juliet. She runs a channel called Girl Who Eats Art. It's a shorts-only channel about showcasing edible mosaic artwork.
Cool.
Her videos have a combined 1.5 billion views, and her channel has 1.5 million subscribers. For reference, that is over 3 times as many views as I have across all of my channels. And she's only been doing it for a year and a half. Juliet just uploaded her first long-form video, an 8-minute long video of her touring an art museum and interviewing people. Before I tell you, how many views would you guess that video got?
A couple thousand. That's going to be completely different, though. There's a difference between... Okay, so one of the things that you need to do as a content creator is you need to identify what your product is. If your product is short form content, there's nothing wrong with that, but people are going to follow your channel for your short form content. If your product is your long form content and you're using short form content to plug your long form content, people are still going to follow for your long form content, right? That person that you just showed us was somebody whose short form content was their product. Then they wanted to try to do a video. That's not their current product. It's going to take a while for people to care about that, and they may never care about that either. That's another thing to keep in mind. And this also goes with the thing where, like, I don't have my announcements on for my shorts because I'm a long form content channel that uses short form content to try to drive you over to watch me in a long form capacity. So I turned the announcements off for my short form content because I don't want my algorithm to be like, oh, I post 2 videos a day and I go live and then I have 3 shorts a day you're going to get an announcement for too. No fucking way. That's crazy. So that's why her video probably didn't do very well.
10,000? 100,000?
Also, YouTube has decided to separate their content. So, like, they're trying to do some weird shit. So, like, if you don't post videos, you're not going to have a video algorithm for them to parse on. But all you're doing is parsing shorts. So, like, you're going to have a shorts form algorithm,
A million? 431.
Oh, less than I thought.
Less than 0.1%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Her subscriber count. So, what's going on? Why did her video get so few views?
Because her main content is not short form content. And what was this even? Interviewing strangers at an art museum? That's very niche. Would you hook up with Picasso? Yeah, this isn't even about, like, her main stuff. It's in a similar sphere, but it's very different.
Form viewers do watch a few. The answer is pretty simple. While most long form viewers do watch a few shorts here and there, most short form viewers never even open the YouTube homepage where long form videos are shown. I've seen some viral posts going around saying that YouTube Shorts should have just been a separate app.
Probably not a good idea.
And if you ask me, it basically is. So if the last thing...
Again, they're trying to make a big hub on it. That's what their long-term plan and philosophy is. That's why they have a YouTube stream, video, music, stream, video, short.
You watched on the YouTube app was a short. The next time you open YouTube on your phone, it'll open directly to the Shorts feed. So you never have to see anything else. Now, if you ask me, it is a bit ridiculous that shorts are also shown on the YouTube homepage, especially with these tall thumbnails that take up double the real estate and crowd out long-form stuff.
That's kind of fair, sure.
But in fairness...
How do I turn off notifications for shorts? So say you're in your channel, and these are already uploaded, so you can't turn it off after the fact. But, like, let's say you just uploaded it, and you go in here, You scroll down, and it's right here. Published to subscribers feed and notify subscribers. I turn this off for my shorts so that like it doesn't clog my algorithm for that. To be honest with you, it's possible that if you let this ride, it might be fine. In the short term, it might be negative to your channel, but in the long term, maybe it'll be positive once your algorithm figures out who likes what content. It could be perfectly fine. I just leave it off because it's not my content. I just let it jump in there, you know. It might get fewer views at first, but I honestly think it's perfectly fine. I don't think it matters, but I could be wrong. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they're getting better. You know, if I ever get an opportunity to talk to like a YouTube rep, I'll ask them about it. And it might be one of those things where like the first month might be really bad for your channel, and then once it kind of like once you guys stop, once it figures out who's short form versus long form, it could be better. But
on the Smart TV app, which is frankly where long form creators most prefer their videos to be watched anyway, shorts usually don't show up there. Anyway, the point is, you can pull insane numbers on your shorts, hundreds of millions of views, but still struggle to pull even a tiny fraction of a % of those viewers over to your long-form videos.
Yeah, but again, the biggest problem with his example here is that he didn't, like, it's not specific enough. He showed us an example of a content creator whose primary content was their shorts. That is their product. Trying to develop a new product, which is longer form content, right? What we're talking about, I would say what you're generally talking about though, is somebody whose primary, their product is the long form video, and they're using shorts to drive to that. Okay, those are two very different things. And also I would ask for that person who gets a lot of shorts views, did they make a short for that content? That's very important because their algorithm isn't like bonded, I guess we'll say, to long form content. So if they didn't even make an attempt to do short form, I would be like, oh, that's probably silly. So she has this video, it's a month old. And if I go to her shorts, like right off the bat, I'm going to assume that we're really not going to see, this is based on like, I don't know how often she posts. This must be like brand new. She must have just posted this video, I would imagine. I have no idea. But if we go through it, I'm guaranteeing you that we're not seeing anything here that has to do with plugging her other thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not seeing it. There's like kind of a lot of chaos here. I mean, I'm a little curious as to what, there's a lot of difference. Whatever. Anyway, I'm not seeing that. I could be wrong, but I'm not seeing that. So that's going to be another problem, is if they didn't make a video that has like a short linked to this. Do they have any shorts linked to this? It doesn't look like it. That's going to be another one of their problems here. Although I don't know if videos will tell you if there's shorts linked to it.
You really do have to treat them like a separate audience.
But I didn't see anything there.
Still, if the content of your shorts specifically references long-form content that people watching that short might also like, you can see excellent growth across your entire channel via shorts. This is something that I myself am far from mastering. But my friends over at Extra History have been crushing it with this strategy. So yeah, shorts are powerful for growth, but they're easy to overestimate and tough to convert into the audience you actually want. On a similar point, my next piece of advice...
You also have to kind of be consistent with it. I think something else to keep in mind when it comes to shorts is that people who are engaging with short form content like that are pooping, and people who watch videos are working. So, like, you know, if you can't, like, you're probably watching my content while you're doing something else. You might be working, you might be cooking and cleaning, or, you know, whatever. Or you're literally on TikTok listening to my video at the same time. My fucking wife watches TV like that. It's weird as fuck. So, like, you know, you're basically trying to catch them on a poop, so they go, oh, I'll watch that video later. So nothing Q1.
Advice in B tier is to ask your audience to subscribe during your videos.
Oh, I never do that. I guess subscribe, guys. Did it glow when they said that?
So there's really no reason not
did it glow?
To do this. I do it. All the best creators do it. And we do it because it works. It makes the number go up.
You're playing Final Fantasy VIII. Hey, that's peak.
And we really like it when the number goes up. True. The reason I include it now here is because I think it's time to drop the biggest truth nuke of the video.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
Which is that subscribers don't matter very much.
I mean, I would generally kind of agree with that. Yeah, sure.
I wish they did. A YouTuber's subscriber count is often their biggest point of pride. And
well, you want productive subscribers. Well, it looks high here. You want productive subscribers, of course, when they engage with your stuff. You want them to look at it for like an actual purpose or a reason. You know, if you just get a subscriber, it doesn't really mean anything. You want to see people who like actually engage with that. Like there's like TikTokers who get like who have like 1 million followers that do like really well, and then there could be TikTokers with like 10 million followers that don't do very well. It depends on what you're doing, what kind of audience you're drawing in, et cetera, et cetera.
It certainly is for me. Hitting 1 million subscribers was one of the biggest milestones of my life. But if you're gonna ask your audience to do something, you know what's better than asking them to click the "I'd like to see more of this in the future" button?
Give me money.
Getting them to watch more of your videos right away.
Yeah, sure, that's true.
In the same amount of time that it takes to ask your audience to click the red button and tap the bell,
I feel like that doesn't hurt, though.
Could just suggest another video to them that they might be interested in.
You can also do both.
Spending more time on your channel right away is a lot stronger of a positive signal to the algorithm than just tapping a button.
I guess that's why it's like a B tier one, huh?
Subscribers are great, don't get me wrong, but it's easy to over-prioritize growing that number rather than growing your channel's actual reach. Next in B tier, focus on making sure your click-through rate is as high as possible.
I don't know. I don't even focus on like analytics. I feel like I'm sure it does really well for some people. For me, I just get bogged down in it and it stresses me out.
This is another number that creators often over-prioritize, and it can be even more misleading. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a fellow creator complaining on Twitter that they must be shadow banned because with the CTR as high as theirs, surely YouTube should be pushing their video to the masses.
I feel like as your video goes more viral, your click-through rate will go down. I think that that's something that my understanding. I don't really know because I don't care.
The problem is, while yes, CTR does scale directly with how interesting a video's title and thumbnail are, it scales inversely with how many impressions a video is getting. CTR is always going to start high and decline as your video spreads.
Yeah, that makes sense because people are going to watch it less as it gets bigger, right? Like generally speaking, it's like diminishing returns. And then it's going to get promoted more, but it's going to be clicked on less. So it's just something that I feel like is not worth engaging with.
So if you're looking at your analytics and thinking...
What's click-through rate? It's just the amount of times people click on your video when they see it on their, on here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, what's the click-through rate? Like if I click on this, it'll boost its click-through rate. But I'm not going to. I'm going to tell it to go fuck itself.
I don't get it. My CTR is...
My CTR is like 6%. Yeah, I don't even know what mine is, honestly.
Crazy high. YouTube says this one's clearly a banger, so why is it not being shown to the masses? Unfortunately, that's kind of similar to saying, like, I've gone on so many first dates. Clearly, I'm hot stuff. So paying attention to CTR used to be more important for creators.
I have no idea.
Because you could take a dead video and then change up the thumbnail and then look at the real-time CTR data that YouTube would give you, and you could look for a change. If the change swung positive, that was a good thing. That was a really good signal.
I don't know.
Now, though, you could just use YouTube's A/B testing feature to do the same thing. So there's not really a ton of reason to pay super close attention to CTR. Now, looking at your real-time CTR can be useful for title changes, because right now, most people can only do it with their thumbnails. But there is a title A/B testing feature in beta.
So I think Caleb Hammer was talking about that in my Discord the other time.
You'll get it eventually.
I don't understand that. I feel like I put a title out, I'm done. But again, I also like once I put a video out, I'm like done thinking about it. Like, you know, other people like Caleb put out like 2 videos a day, you know? Or excuse me, 2 videos like a week. So it's so much different.
Last in B tier, you should get your audience to sign up for a newsletter. This is a
I don't know what the fuck that means.
Strategy I hadn't even heard of until recently, but apparently a lot of really successful creators do it. So the basic idea is pretty simple. Kind of like what I was saying.
Caleb the Nail Hammer.
Before, subscribers don't necessarily mean that much anymore. Just because someone is subscribed doesn't mean they're for sure going to get a notification for your next video.
That's true.
So instead of relying on YouTube to push your video out, you could just ask your most loyal fans to join a mailing list so that you...
Well, I don't think it's a bad idea to do some kind of like very, like I guess niche fan-centric thing, like a Patreon or something, if you can provide them value for it. Like for my stuff, like my YouTube members, which I maybe should make a Patreon and diversify a little bit, but like, you know, you can get access to the Discord and like you suggest content to me and like, get access to the live streams after they're done because I put on members only until I put out the actual video.
You have total control over that connection to your audience.
I don't know about a mailing list.
And this does work. Data shows that the industry average for opening these emails is about 20%, which is like 10 times higher than the average rate that YouTube viewers click on push notifications.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I guess if the type of person that watched it actually cares about emails, then you would see like, oh, this person posted a video. Let me watch the email. Like, that makes sense.
So it is a pretty reliable way to reach your audience. The really clever YouTubers will send out not just their own videos, but a whole curated list of the best videos that they've seen over the past few days or weeks. That way, their video becomes part of a pretty concrete pattern of co-watching.
That's kind of smart, actually.
And anyone who organically encounters one of the other videos in their newsletter will have a much higher chance of seeing their video next. So
that's kind of cool, actually.
Clever stuff. The only drawback is, believe it or not, sending a bunch of emails can get pretty expensive pretty quickly. Like potentially several $1,000s a year.
1.2 million emails a month for $700. That doesn't sound that bad, though, honestly. That sounds kind of decent. Huh.
So definitely useful, but not something to worry about unless you're already an established creator. All right, we're leaving the mid-tier now. So look, I'm not trying to be a YouTube guru or anything like that. I'm not going to promise that these tips are like guaranteed to grow your channel and propel your career to new heights and make you rich and famous overnight. But I do think everything from here on out is genuinely great advice that I would give to anyone in the industry, both new and old creators alike. First, in A tier, you should use the A/B thumbnail testing feature.
I don't understand what that is.
So this just works, pure and simple. If you're not A/B testing your thumbnails, you're almost certainly leaving views on the table.
So are you saying that you upload 2 versions of a thumbnail and then how do you do A/B? What does that even mean, though?
Now, it is a lot of extra work to create 3 thumbnails instead of just 1, but I've seen some truly explosive growth on old videos after successfully finding a new winning thumbnail. I'm talking like doubling.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute, that's kind of cool. So wait, are they saying that what you do is you upload a video that has like 2 or 3 titles at the same time? That's kind of cool. How the fuck do you... Maybe I'll fuck around with that. That's interesting. That's interesting. I don't think I'm there yet, but I think I could be there at a certain point. That's interesting. Huh.
Or tripling the amount of views on the video.
That's interesting.
There's also a title A/B testing feature in beta right now, which opens up even more possibilities. I don't have a ton more to say about this one. It just genuinely is a really powerful tool.
So that's fucking cool as hell, dude. That's fucking cool as hell.
Next, in A tier, you should translate your videos into multiple languages.
I should ask Caleb about. Yeah, and maybe in the future. Caleb is I don't want to like bother him with like advice. Hey, Caleb, blah, blah, blah. But I might talk to him. I might see Caleb by the end of the year. Like Caleb, like he's moving to New York, so I might end up seeing him by the end of this year, maybe in January or February. You know, whenever he settles in. I think he'll be here in November or December. That's my understanding. I don't think that's any information he would care if I said. I think he said that publicly. Hopefully, I'm not being stupid. But I think January, I don't know, whatever. He'll be here, I think, by the end of the year. So I might just hang out with him, and we'll probably talk shop at some point. Like, he likes talking about, like, work, and I'd love to hear some of that stuff. But, yeah, we're going to go to Disney in New York.
Languages.
Will I kiss him? Maybe.
Pretty much every creator that does this that I've talked to has said that it basically doubled their revenue for very little extra effort.
Did it really? What the fuck? Wait, what's the features? What?
You should translate your videos into multiple languages.
Aren't they already doing that?
So pretty much every creator that does this that I've talked to has said that it basically doubled their revenue for very little extra effort. Translated subtitles are good, but if possible, what you really want to do is find someone who can provide a translated audio track too. The multi-language audio track feature is really powerful and auto plays the appropriate language based on viewer's location if the translation exists. For most people, AI translation and auto dubbing should be sufficient. I really wanted to make this work for TierZoo, but because my...
That's interesting. Yes, okay. Interesting. I guess AI has taken over another industry, though.
my videos are so jargon heavy, unless I find someone who specifically knows like the ins and outs of gamer culture in that language, the translations just don't capture the same gaming connotations that they do in English.
That makes sense.
So
That's interesting. Hopefully AI can never understand that. So that translators still have like a fucking reason to exist. Because I know that there's different things that mean different things in different languages. Like I think that's one of the potential difficulties of translating into like Japanese or something. I'm trying to remember. There was like something. Oh, I don't even watch it, but I think in Death Note there's something like that where it's a tough translation. I was watching a TikTok video about it because it was kind of interesting. There's some test that he has to do, and it just doesn't translate well over in English, you know, because it's just there's different shit. There's just different ways that people communicate, you know.
Yeah, it's tough, and finding
not just words, you know. Sometimes there's also slang and stuff like that.
Someone who can do that is difficult. People like that are hard to find and expensive, but if you'd like to see TierZoo brought to your local language, pledging to my Patreon would help me get that off the ground. All right, and finally, S-tier advice. So for advice in the highest tier, I decided to go with more nebulous, vibes-based sorts of things, because at the end of the day, I really do believe that having the right mindset and having the right creative ambition will really always trump any sort of back-end optimizations or analytics tricks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
First in S tier, we have the 80% rule.
Ooh, yeah, 80%. I think what I translated as like 80% of what you do really matters. You don't have to worry about the 20%. You know, if you're a content creator, you want to make content, you want to get a nice thumbnail, you want to get a nice title up there. At the end of the day, like maximizing those things don't necessarily matter. Sometimes it's just about getting it going and getting consistent. You don't have to have the best video. You want to have decent audio, people aren't going to watch, but you don't have to have the best video quality. You don't have to have the best background. Are these things important? 100%. Are they that important? No. Like it's more important if you're not going to succeed with a 720p camera, decent audio quality, and like a pretty boring background, but like a stable, consistent thing as a content creator, you're just not going to succeed ever. You're not. It's not going to matter if you have really high quality shit. You know, like I started TikTok, got my first 1 million views on like a Samsung J3 phone. It was like $100 smartphone at the time. I don't even know if I could find what that looks like. It was such a fucking, it was like $160 back in the day. And I hit my first 1 million views on that. And then I was like, oh, let me get like a real phone. I got like a nice iPhone after that.
This is advice that Hank Green posted to YouTube around the time that I was just starting my career here.
If I want to translate my videos into free English, well, I think more of I need to figure out how to translate it to Gooner language, you know? Instead of being like, guys, don't do that, be like, mommy says no. You know what I mean? That would be pretty good. That would be great. Gooner English.
And I never forgot it. The idea is simple.
80%. Everything creative I do my best to get it 80% of the way to as good as I can make it and go no further. I just don't try to get it to 100%.
Now, that also makes sense because like you're gonna hit diminishing. It's gonna be like going from 0 to 80 is gonna be just as much effort as going from 81 to or 80 to 100. So sometimes it's not worth the extra effort.
Of course, I've heard tons of similar proverbs to this. You know, like don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Yeah.
Done is better than perfect. That sort of thing. But I don't know, something about the way that Hank puts it, plus his track record with starting and finishing a huge variety of massively successful projects, made this one stick differently. I'm sure there's plenty of fields
sticky. See, that's the Gooner stuff.
This sort of advice can apply to, but I think us YouTubers really need to hear it more than most because we really like to stress a lot about the finer details.
You guys know that I love to make sure that the details are finer. I'm so focused on it.
Things and tend to have a pretty well-defined picture of what we want a video to end up looking like. And I think for YouTubers like myself who upload somewhat infrequently and spend a lot of time per video, the biggest risk is not that we make a bad video. The biggest risk is that we don't make a video at all. We either spend way too long polishing something that's already perfectly fine, or we get halfway through a project and realize it's not quite turning out the way we liked it, and so we just start over. It's tough because one of the pieces of advice that I see passed through.
It's interesting because that's one of the things I think about my shorts. Like, oh man, I want to make them like more perfect, but then like I have a certain content style when you turn on my YouTube video. So it's like if I have, probably shouldn't go beyond the quality. My shorts shouldn't be beyond the quality of my YouTube videos. You know what I mean? That would be so.
around a lot in creative circles is just make it exist first. You can make it good later. But on YouTube, once you publish a video, it's out there. You can't change it. You just have to let it ride, mistakes and all. And even with that being said,
for the most part, yeah.
The 80%.
I mean, you can edit stuff out, but you can't really do much. You can't edit stuff in, I don't think.
Rule is great advice. And the last advice on this tier list, the algorithm is the audience.
Interesting.
Basically, the idea that every time you would normally use the word algorithm, swap in audience.
Yeah, that's great advice. I actually like that a lot. Especially since the secondary to that is if you start talking about, sometimes people get so bogged down in like the algorithm, they use it as an excuse for failure. My content's really good. My algorithm just sucks. The algorithm's not pushing my content on my algorithm. If you change that to audience, you're just like, oh, like you can't really blame your audience for not wanting to engage. You can blame the algorithm, but you can't blame your audience. It doesn't work the same way. So like if you're not doing well, personally, I would say they try to force it onto yourself, even if the algorithm is 90% of it. You have control over enough of it, 10% of it. I mean, you have control over more than 10%, but so do what you can with the 10%. And what that's going to mean is if your YouTube algorithm sucks, make stuff on short form content and pull people over, right?
So instead of the algorithm likes this thumbnail more than that one, you think the audience likes this thumbnail more than that one. And instead of thinking the algorithm isn't pushing this video, you think the audience isn't pushing this video.
This is a good way to not make yourself a victim when it comes to making content.
This is advice that Todd Beaupre, head of search and discovery at YouTube, aka the guy that leads the team that manages and designs the YouTube algorithm, says every chance that he gets. I've kind of been trying to condition you guys to think this way over the course of this video by frequently asking you to re-examine all the pieces of advice through the lens of an audience member rather than the perspective of a creator. The things that matter to the algorithm are the things that matter to the audience. And if something doesn't matter to the audience, it's probably not worth fussing about for the algorithm's sake either. Personally, the things that determine whether or not I want to click on a video are, does it look interesting? Is it by a creator who I really like? Does it look like it's about something that I've already watched another video about? Do I have time to watch something that's that length? If the thumbnail looks like a still frame from a video, do I want to see the rest of that video? And that sort of thing. There have been a lot of videos on YouTube lately from YouTubers complaining about low views and speculating about possible algorithm changes.
Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. Because what's so funny is that happened to me the second, and I don't think that he'll experience it because he doesn't make consistent content, it seems like. Or he does. His consistency is like every month or two. So people who upload more see it. I don't know exactly what it is, but there was like a lower viewership. I've seen a lot of people, like even like Josh Strife Hayes, talking about how the viewership is lower. I just didn't care. It's funny though because it happened right when I went from one video to two videos. So like you're getting less views because your algorithm, the way people consume your content is shifting for people. It's going less notification based and it's becoming more click through based on what they're seeing on the thing. So it's taking people time. So at the same time that happened, I got hit with like oh, those views are low. That kind of sucks. But I will tell you that it was like a 1-to-1 increase in money, so that was great. I don't know exactly what it was people were complaining about. That just doesn't matter, you know what I mean? It feels nice to know that like everybody seems to be taking the hit. So like that for me, it's like, oh, maybe it's just something temporary. I don't think that YouTube's trying to destroy their own platform. So if you have a bad little bit of time, it's not necessarily horrible. I don't even know if money necessarily went down just because the views went down either. It might have been something to do with like AI people watching or something. I don't really know. I don't know exactly what they did, but I wasn't like super concerned about it necessarily. I mean, I was still a little stressed, but I wasn't like freaking out. That made me feel better when I heard that, honestly.
That are affecting them. And in fairness, the video that I posted a few weeks ago was also about challenges that I was facing as a creator. But I hope the takeaway from that video was that I don't believe that there's any nefarious YouTube suppression going on, but that the audience is just changing. And yes, sure. I did hear also about the potential ad block shenanigans. And those sorts of things do happen from time to time. But as a creator, the advice that I would give is that you still have to just prioritize focusing on the things that you can control.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that.
What viewers want is a moving target. And sometimes strategies and formats that used to crush it suddenly don't work as well anymore. I apologize if the S tier section came off as a bit disappointing.
No, I think that it was all pretty basic advice, but which is a good thing. I think if you're somebody who watched this because you're a content creator and you're like, oh man, I really want some advice, like this is what you need to hear. Because, well, actually, this could have been S tier advice. One of the most important things you should understand is that like the basics and the foundation are more important than any other niche thing that you could ever like anything else ever. You know, and going. Sometimes you're like, oh, something's not doing well. Fuck, what's the magic trick that's not making it happen? There's no magic trick. You're just doing something wrong on the ground floor, which is a good thing because if you're doing something wrong, you can change it. And that's the best advice you'll ever give a content creator ever, is that if you're not doing well, it's your fault, but that means that you can make it better. It's just about figuring that out. And in many instances, it's about producing some kind of short form content or, you know, getting down, you know, your baseline quality. Like the audio is the most important in my opinion for anything else. Your audio quality is so fucking important.
I get that just make good videos doesn't really feel actionable. And again, I'm not trying to be a YouTube guru or anything like that.
A YouTube poopy
I'm just
boy.
sharing my opinion as a creator. I hope this video helps you avoid red herring advice and helps you focus on what really matters.
Yeah, sure.
And that's the tier list. I'm really curious how this video does because I have no idea if people actually want to just hear me ramble about things or if the success of the first video was an anomaly. I know I kind of baited people into thinking I was maybe about to retire with a title and thumbnail like that, and I know that's not a move I can pull twice, so I'd be surprised if a video like this does anywhere near as well. I promise the next video on this
Make sure you delete it, dude. No,
channel will not be about the YouTube meta. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you'd like to help me fund an indie game dev studio, consider pledging to my Patreon, because we've
You gonna do like VR porn games?
got some cool things cooking.
All right, man. That was a cool video. I liked it. It was fun. It was a fun watch. Maybe we'll give it a little heart.